Billionaire CEO discovers too late that his ex-wife is pregnant with twins, Rock and Randy. Now he'll go to any lengths to win her heart back. Dearest hearts, welcome back to Beyond Color Stories. I'm your narrator, James, and I hope today meets you with peace. Before we begin, I want to greet all my amazing listeners. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and if you're a part of our loving family. Before we journey into today's emotional tale, please tap that like button and share this video with someone who believes in love's second chances. Your support keeps this warm circle growing. Let me offer a quick blessing for you. May unexpected joy find you. May peace settle like mist over your days. And may you never forget the wonder within you. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the stories we cherish here together. Now take a deep breath. Let's begin. The courtroom echoed with cold solemnity, a mix of polished wood and finality. Sierra Langston stood in the center, her beige coat draping her form, shielding the precious secret nestled beneath, her unborn twins. She held a pen, hand trembling, not with fear, but heartbreak. Her heartbeat thundered, louder than footsteps, louder than the judge's gavel minutes before, louder even than her breathing, but not louder than the silence of the man before her. Demon Valor, CEO, billionaire, feared and worshipped in equal measure. He wore his wealth like armor, a navy suit perfectly tailored. His stance was rigid, his expression blank as he returned signed divorce papers to his attorney. "Final papers will be ready tomorrow," he said, the voice once a whisper against her skin, now cutting her soul. No flicker of emotion, no remorse, just cold conclusion. But Sierra, beneath the pain, carried more than grief. Two unborn boys, Rock and Randy, fluttered in her womb like soft wings, proof of a love once blazing. He didn't know. She never told him. And looking into the face of a man she once trusted with forever, she knew she never would. Her lip quivered, but she shed no tears. Not for him, not anymore. She turned each step towards the door, a goodbye echoing through the hollowness between them. No one knew she carried twins. Her hand gently shielded her belly, silent protection as she disappeared into winter's chill, not looking back. Her farewell was silent but unshakable. Sierra wasn't always this way. Once Demon smiled like she was his universe. Their mornings were kisses, their nights tangled limbs. He brushed her curls, whispered dreams. Then things changed. Meetings replaced meals. Work silenced warmth. His touch grew colder, his words sharp. When she needed comfort, he was distant. She tried, one last time. In their high-rise home, 6 weeks pregnant, test in hand, hope trembling in her voice. "Demon, can we talk?" He didn't glance up. "Not now, Sierra. This is important." Her voice cracked. "So is this." Still, nothing. That's when she knew. He wasn't her partner anymore. Her babies deserved better. So did she. She left without telling him. She climbed into a cab, the courthouse behind her old life dissolving into the cold. Her hand cradled her stomach. "I've got you. Both of you," she whispered. She would build a new life, warm, safe, free of rejection, even if her heart never fully healed. That same night, in his high-rise, Demon stood by floor-to-ceiling glass, scotch untouched, city lights blurry. His penthouse echoed with silence. He had power, prestige, but no peace. He told himself it was better this way. Sierra was too tender, too emotional. But deep down, he knew he still loved her. Her laugh still lived in his memories. Her scent, her barefoot dancing, her sleeping face, soft and content. He remembered it all, and yet he didn't know what he truly lost, that she was still carrying his legacy, a truth growing with every beat inside her. Weeks slipped by. Sierra moved far from skyscrapers to Haven Hollow, a town cradled by cliffs and sea air. A cozy cottage near the shore became her haven. She painted nurseries, chose cribs, and whispered names, Rock and Randy. Her belly bloomed, and so did her purpose. She walked the beach at dawn, sang lullabies by the fire at night. No one knew her past. The townsfolk welcomed her with kindness, never questions. Her smile returned, though sometimes haunted. Demon's ghost lingered in the quiet, in memories that wrapped her in sorrow. She missed him, hated it, but never regretted leaving. Back in the city, Demon kept winning at business but losing at life. Headlines praised him, but his heart ached. He pictured her, sometimes wondered if she was happy. He never imagined she carried a truth powerful enough to alter everything. And so, the story began. Not with joy, but with endings. But endings sometimes birth the most beautiful beginnings. Ocean breezes danced through open windows. Sierra found sanctuary in simplicity. In Haven Hollow, she wasn't a CEO's ex-wife. She was just a mother to two boys who filled her world. Rock and Randy arrived screaming, strong with Demon's navy eyes and her curls. Rock was bold, wild. Randy quiet, curious. She lived for their giggles and gurgles. Their nursery smelled of lavender, their toys scattered like confetti. They became her heartbeat. Days were light-drenched, mornings soft with lullabies. She sold stories online, tales of brave animals and magic lands, written during nap times. Her books paid the bills. Her love filled their home. Locals called her Miss Sierra, the gentle beach walker, the storyteller at the library. No one asked about the father. They didn't need to. Her life glowed with something sacred. Bedtime meant warm baths, pajamas, and her first book, The Starry Bear's Journey. She read it gently as Rock clapped and Randy traced the stars on the pages. She kissed them and lingered at the door, breath caught in love. She had no riches anymore, just sticky fingers, toy-strewn floors, in a home vibrating with life. She had purpose, even when exhaustion whispered. Sometimes she sat on the porch wrapped in a cardigan, watching stars, a mug warming her palms. She didn't think of the courtroom, not of Demon's final words, but sometimes of the man she once loved, the man who kissed her shoulder as she passed, who held her like breathing. That man was gone, but her love remained, transformed into lullabies and bedtime whispers. She never told her boys about him, not yet, but in her journal she wrote letters to Demon, letters she'd never send. One day if her boys asked, she would show them, not pain but love. Neighbors adored her. Mrs. Callahan brought scones. Theo built a treehouse. People waved, offered hands when the twins cried. She had a village now, a life rooted in kindness. She decorated the nursery with stars, glowing moons, and a wooden sign, "Dream big, little lions." She taught them courage, not the loud kind, but the brave softness of love. They were enough. They were everything. Time passed. Baby teeth emerged. First steps came. Sierra's hair grew longer, and her laughter rang louder. She baked muffins, fixed leaky pipes, and mastered IKEA shelves. Life wasn't easy, but it was hers, and it was beautiful. Like that, she vanished into the crowd, her small sons clutching her skirts, leaving Demon standing alone in the fading glow of the bookstore's lamplight. The question hung in the air, unanswered, heavy as a stone sinking deep into the silence between them. His heart shattered into 1,000 pieces, the truth he'd tried to bury clawing its way to the surface. They were his sons. Impossible, undeniable. And yet here she was, a world apart, holding their future without him. For a moment, Demon Valor remained rooted to the spot, the sounds of the bookstore rushing back around him, the whispered conversations, the soft rustle of turning pages. But none of it reached him anymore. His empire, his power, his control, all meaningless now. The man who once wore steel like armor was suddenly just a father left to face the consequences of a love he had lost and a family he hadn't even known he had. The rain outside fell harder, drumming against the windows like a mournful heartbeat, as Demon Valor finally understood that some truths could no longer be denied, and that the path forward, however uncertain and painful, had already begun. Demon Valor didn't breathe. He stood frozen, as if the floor had trapped him. She didn't look back. The boys clung tightly to her dress as she slipped through the rows of bookshelves, disappearing like a page being turned. His body refused to move. His mind screamed at him to follow, to demand answers, to stop her. But his heart was breaking, not shattering with loud drama, but crumbling slowly, devastatingly. In that moment, the man who had conquered empires realized something earth-shattering. He hadn't just lost a woman. He had lost a family, lost time, the first laugh, the first word, the first steps of two children he never knew he fathered. Birthdays, bedtime stories, nighttime fevers, tiny arms wrapped around a neck in sleep. He had missed it all, and Sierra had carried it all alone. Her silence was not weakness. It was power. Her calm refusal to speak, to turn away, was the sharpest blade, cutting him open from within. Finally, Demon moved, slow and heavy, as if the air had thickened around him. He followed her path, but she was gone. The music resumed. The spell was broken. Yet Demon stood lost in the middle of the bookstore, devastated and burning. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the wet streets glistened. He leaned against his black car, chest rising and falling like he'd been punched in the gut. Looking up at the city lights, he admitted what he had denied too long. He hadn't just lost Sierra. He'd lost the right to call those boys his. If fate had brought her back once, it could do it again. Next time, he wouldn't ask. He'd fight. He'd redeem. He'd reclaim everything he'd destroyed. Even if it meant begging for forgiveness he wasn't sure he deserved. That night, Demon didn't sleep. The penthouse felt hollow, haunted by silence. He paced, called and canceled calls, lost in regret that burned deep. At dawn, soaked by rain, he found her cottage. He knocked, not boldly, but hesitantly. She opened the door, cautious, and there he stood, wet, exhausted, broken. "Let me talk," he said, voice trembling. She held the door firm. "You never asked if I was okay. You never cared enough to stay." No anger, only the weight of her hurt. Demon sank to his knees, not an act, but a man finally brought low by truth. There on her porch in the rain, he knelt before two tiny pairs of shoes. "I didn't know," he choked, "but I want to. I want to know them, everything I missed. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But let me try." The boys watched, innocent and curious. Then Rock whispered, "Are you our daddy?" Sierra's heart clenched, but she couldn't lie. "Yes." Hope flickered in Demon's eyes. He pulled out an old ultrasound photo, forgotten but kept. "I don't know why I kept this," he said. "Maybe part of me always knew I'd see you again." Her walls cracked, not shattered but enough to let light in. He didn't rush, didn't demand. He simply asked, "Can we talk?" "All of us." She nodded. Not for him, for them. The door stayed open, and for the first time in years, something fragile began to grow. Days passed. Demon showed up. No gifts, just time. Stories, laughter, building trust piece by piece. One evening, Sierra scrubbed paint from her hands while Demon lingered quietly. "They love you," she said softly. He swallowed. "I love them." No performance, just truth. He stepped closer, fingers brushing her wrist, the same wrist he once kissed under silk sheets. "Seer," he whispered, voice breaking, "I know I hurt you. I don't deserve you, but every time I see you with them, I remember what love feels like." She exhaled, voice trembling. "Don't say things you don't mean." His hand moved slow to her cheek, warm despite the cold night. Coolness settled in the room as he touched her like a prayer, his skin asking permission before memory could. She didn't flinch, her breath caught, but her eyes stayed locked on his. "I mean every word," he said silently, even the ones he never spoke before. Moonlight through the kitchen window caught the silver in her eyes, making her look like a dream, real and tangible. No longer the girl he lost, but the woman who raised two sons alone, still strong enough to let him in. He leaned in slowly, stopping just before their lips met. "If you tell me to stop," he whispered, "I will." She didn't. Instead, she looked at him, not with forgiveness or surrender, but with memory. And in that memory, they found enough. Their kiss was gentle and slow, a careful relearning. His mouth moved like a silent apology, a whispered hope. Her hands rose, trembling, then settled on his chest, feeling his fast, nervous heartbeat. He kissed her as if afraid to break her, every touch a promise not to hurt again. She let him, not because she forgot the pain, but because beneath years of survival, her love remained. quieter, waiting. When he pulled back, their foreheads rested together in silence, a delicate space heavier than vows. Outside, stars blinked. Inside, something fragile bloomed. Not forgiveness, not a new beginning, but the first breath of healing. In the weeks that followed, Demon and Sierra found a rhythm neither dared hope for. Smiles no longer forced, silences soft and warm. The boys thrived in the renewed love echoing through the house. One stormy night, candles flickering shadows. Demon watched Sierra, the woman who survived so much, who raised their sons with fierce love. "I miss this," he murmured, voice raw. "Us," she challenged softly. "Show me what you missed." He closed the distance, hands trembling as they traced her face, lips finding hers with desperate tenderness, a confession of longing and regret. The kiss deepened, urgent and reverent, anchoring them in a shared reality of hope and healing. Rain drummed outside as his whispers spilled between kisses. "I dreamed of you, your smile, your voice, the way you made me alive." She closed her eyes, letting his words wash over years of pain and solitude. Together they danced slowly, each touch a promise, every caress a healing stroke. He kissed every scar left by silence, pleading for forgiveness through lips and fingertips. Piece by piece, she surrendered the fortress around her heart, finding sanctuary in his arms where brokenness met compassion. Time slipped away in whispered promises until dawn's light warmed their skin. Demon held her close, peace finally settling between them. A family reborn from ashes, ready to face the future with steady love. But peace proved fragile. That afternoon, Melissa, Demon's past, arrived with poison in hand, spilling secrets to the world. Headlines questioned everything: Sierra, the boys, the twins' paternity. Sierra stormed into Demon's office, fury and fear blazing in her eyes. "You said you'd changed," she spat, throwing her phone on his desk. Demon stood, hands raised in surrender. "Seer, did you doubt me? Our sons?" With shaky hands, he handed her a sealed envelope, a DNA test done before he came back. Clear proof, the twins were his. Tears broke her strength, and she collapsed into his arms, sobbing as he whispered, "I won't let anyone hurt you again. Never." That night, wrapped in moonlight and silence, Demon held her close. "You don't have to prove anything," she whispered. "But I'll spend every night proving myself to you," he vowed. He kissed her like a man desperate to erase every doubt, every cruel whisper. Tender, reverent, worshipful, each touch a sacred promise. "You are mine," he breathed, "and I am yours. Nothing, lies, ghosts, past sins, will come between us again." She held him tight as they finally collapsed, wrapped in trust reborn. "This time," Demon murmured, "I will fight for you. No matter the storm, I will not lose you again." Her heart full, Sierra whispered back, "Then we'll face the world together." Outside, the wind stilled as if the storm had heard them and understood. The morning after, Demon awoke early, not for work or calls, but to watch his family sleep, memorizing the peace he once feared lost. Sierra lay curled beside him, sunlight dancing through sheer curtains, her breath steady and soft. He kissed her shoulder gently, heart heavy with gratitude for holding her again. He slipped quietly to the twins' room, Rock clutching his toy spaceship with one leg dangling, and Randy sprawled out like a starfish, murmuring in dreams. Demon smiled, a new tender ache filling his chest. That day, he skipped his usual routine and stood in the kitchen, awkwardly flipping dinosaur-shaped pancakes, humming to a cartoon tune. Sierra appeared, towel on her head, and teased him playfully. Their laughter filled the room. The twins burst in, delighted by dino pancakes and Demon's playful roars. Hours passed in the backyard. Demon building a treehouse, Sierra bringing lemonade, the boys helping with their tiny tool belts. With every nail, Demon built more than wood. He built memories, redemption, and home. On the final day, Demon carved their names into a polished plank, Rock, Randy, Sierra, and Demon, and bolted it above the doorway. When Rock called him Daddy for the first time, Demon's world paused, tears quietly tracing down his cheeks. That night, Wrapped in fairy lights and soft music, they roasted marshmallows. Randy slept in Sierra's lap. Rock leaned against Demon's chest. After tucking the boys in, Demon pulled Sierra close in the quiet living room, their hearts beating in sync. "Let's build this forever," he whispered. Her eyes glistened. "Only if you promise to never disappear again." His kiss was his vow, deep, reverent, unbreakable. In that moment, Sierra found not just love, but home. The next morning, Demon rose to prepare breakfast, humming a lullaby. But when he returned, Sierra was pale, struggling for breath, collapsing into his arms. Panic surged as he rushed her to the hospital, begging silently, "Don't take her from me. I just got her back." Hours later, a doctor explained exhaustion and malnutrition. Demon stayed by her side, caring for her and the twins in the hospital wing, reading stories, bringing soup, soothing pain. Late one night, he lay beside her, whispering, "I should have loved you like this from the start." "Then love me now," she breathed. He kissed her gently, apology and hunger mingling. They made love quietly, tender and sacred, their bodies and souls entwined in healing and forgiveness. "I love you," he murmured. She wiped away his tear. "Then don't ever let go." In that small hospital room, surrounded by machines and soft breaths, two broken hearts found home again, not through time, but through touch and promises. Because Demon and Sierra chose love, not escape, as their truth. And on a golden evening, hand in hand, Demon led Sierra up a glowing hill beneath the stars, ready to face their future together. His touch was warm, steady, and filled with a quiet reverence that made her heart flutter with every step they took. When they finally reached the summit, the air was alive with birdsong and carried the scent of fragrant breezes. Sierra's eyes widened in wonder at the breathtaking scene before her. A picnic blanket, perfectly spread beneath a grand oak tree, adorned with delicate lanterns swaying gently and fairy lights twinkling among the branches like captured fireflies. In the heart of it all stood their sons, Rock and Randy, dressed in sharp little black suits, red bow ties, and polished shoes. Their faces glowed with pure happiness, the kind that only love can inspire. Clasping their hands nervously, they rocked back and forth, bursting into joyful giggles the moment they spotted their mother. They ran toward her, wrapping her in tight, exuberant hugs, pulling her closer to the blanket with unfiltered, contagious delight. Sierra knelt between them, laughing through her surprise as she brushed their hair back and kissed their foreheads tenderly. Then her gaze landed on something unusual at the center of the setup, a single perfect cupcake resting atop a crystal platter, encircled by rose petals and sprinkled sugar that sparkled like edible magic. Leaning closer, her fingers trembling slightly, she carefully unwrapped the cupcake. Her breath caught as a glimmer revealed itself beneath the frosting. Nestled inside was a ring shining like the sunset, subtle, yet powerful, mirroring the bond they had forged anew through every storm and trial. As she gasped, the twins leapt and shouted with innocent excitement, their voices ringing out like a chorus of angels. "Mommy, say yes! Say yes! Say yes!" Her heart thundered as she turned to find Demon kneeling before her, eyes locked on hers, raw, sacred, and vulnerable. His voice, steady but trembling with love, carried a promise far deeper than words. Not just for them, but for us. Marry me again. Not as the man I was, but as the man you made me. The man who never knew love until you, who never knew home until I held you in my arms. In that suspended moment, time slowed. The breeze softened. The trees stood still. Sierra's heart swelled, her soul overflowing with joy so immense it spilled as tears. Tears not of sorrow, but of laughter and hope. She nodded fiercely, voice choked but sure. "Yes, yes, yes." The twins erupted in cheers, spinning and clapping as though the fairy tale they dreamed of had come alive. Demon rose and swept her into his arms, holding her as if she were the center of his entire world. His lips met hers with a worshipful passion, devoted, urgent, and full of promises made real. Years of longing poured into that kiss, every beat of a heart finally taught how to love. As the sun dipped behind rolling hills, casting golden halos around them, Rock and Randy ran circles nearby, shouting gleefully, "Yay! Daddy and Mommy again! Forever!" The picnic faded into the starlit quiet, punctuated by fireworks bursting overhead, crimson, sapphire, gold, and violet, painting their silhouettes like a timeless masterpiece. Later, Demon carried Sierra down the hill through wildflowers and the hush of evening, back to their home where candlelight waited like a whispered secret. Crossing the threshold, he held her as if it were their very first night, every moment crafted with the reverence she deserved. He undressed her slowly, his hands trembling, eyes reverent, as if unveiling the moon itself, laying her on their bed like sacred light. His worship was tender and deliberate, kisses sparking flames across her skin, poetry whispered along her collarbone. She arched into his love, murmuring his name, the only words she needed to speak. Each kiss, each touch, was a letting go of the man he had been, and a holding on to the man she believed in. They moved as one, soul to soul, skin to skin, moans soft, whispers loud in the quiet room. Demon kissed every part of her that had held pain and every part that had held love. "You saved me," he whispered again and again, until her eyes blurred with tears and her lips sought his once more. Their love deepened beyond flesh, into soul, into belonging, into rebirth. In the candlelight and fireworks glow, Demon finally understood what it meant to adore, to surrender, to give fully. Sierra felt cherished like a goddess, every inch of her treasured divine. After they collapsed in sweat and whispers, he tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and whispered, "Every breath with you is home." She smiled, heart full, soul trembling, and whispered back, "Forever isn't long enough." They lay together, king and queen of love's quiet kingdom, their sons asleep nearby, their hearts forever awake. When dawn came, Sierra woke in Demon's arms, her head resting over his heart, feeling the steady rhythm echo the peace inside her. His fingers traced slow circles on her bare back beneath the sheets, and she felt something new, something earned and sacred. Their days unfolded like a song written just for them. Shared looks, unspoken understanding, stolen kisses at breakfast while the boys played. Soon they planned the wedding they'd never had, the real one, a celebration of who they had become together. They chose a garden by the sea where sky melted into waves, salt and lavender in the air. Weeks later, Demon stood in a cream suit, a single white rose pinned to his chest, eyes fixed on the petal-strewn path. Sierra appeared at the top, radiant in a gown that shimmered like light itself, her gaze fierce and certain. Their sons, proud and nervous, stood at the aisle's edges, clutching velvet boxes, ready to walk with her. The music began, soft and reverent, and a hush fell over those gathered. Demon took her hand, kissed her knuckles, and with a voice steady and low, spoke vows not on paper, but burned between their hearts. "I once stood in my own way, believing power meant everything, until I realized none of it mattered if it cost me you. I vow never again to choose anything over us, never to let pride silence my love, and never to let the world define what home looks like for us." Sierra, blinking back tears, replied, "I don't need perfection. I never did. I only needed your heart, and now that I have it, I promise to guard it like it's mine." As Rock and Randy stepped forward, offering rings, Demon slipped his onto her finger. She did the same, sealing promises already spoken in the way they looked at each other. As the sun dipped low, their kiss was not just passion but triumph, the triumph of choosing love again, rebuilding from ruins something unbreakable. The night bloomed with celebration, laughter, and dancing, beneath fairy lights strung from olive trees. Tables filled with delicate cakes, champagne, and music drifting like perfume. Their first dance was slow, swaying in each other's arms. Sierra whispered, "You saved us." Demon held her tighter, shaking his head softly. "No, Angel? You saved me." They kissed again, lost in quiet magic, their bodies moving in perfect harmony as their sons twirled nearby, their clumsy mimicry drawing smiles and sighs from the guests. Lanterns floated into the night sky above the sea, and as the last guest left, Demon scooped Sierra into his arms, carrying her through the villa with the same devotion as on the night of their proposal. This time, their love blazed brighter than ever, every promise unspoken, every hope fulfilled. Later, in their glowing bedroom scented with vanilla and roses, Demon undressed her slowly, like silk and starlight, his reverent touches turning her breath to shivers. His lips traveled from toes to knees, hips to neck, speaking vows where words failed. Sierra moaned softly, fingers threading through his hair as he pressed close. They made love by the fire, slow, aching, deep, whispers filling the room, movements a prayer of skin and soul. Demon held her like she was everything right in the world, kissed her as if nothing else existed, and she gave herself to him. Not because she had to, but because her heart was finally unshakably safe. In those hours stretching into eternity, they wrote a new language of love with their mouths, hands, bodies, never rushing, needing only each other's breath. When sleep came, it wrapped them in warmth and promise. Months later, in a hospital room, Sierra gripped Demon's hand as their daughter arrived, crying out like a song. Demon wept, speechless, as the nurse placed their tiny, perfect child in Sierra's arms. She looked at him, sweat damp and radiant, whispering, "She's our second chance, Demon." He kissed her forehead, trembling lips. They named her Faith, not for ritual, but because love had returned, fierce and gentle, rebuilding what they thought lost. That night, Sierra held Faith close while Demon cradled them both, whispering stories and kisses. Rock and Randy tiptoed in, eyes wide, smiles beaming, climbing onto the bed to meet their baby sister. Surrounded by everything he never knew he needed, Demon realized their story was no longer one of heartbreak, regrets, or wounds, but a testament to healing, family, and passion that had grown richer and stronger. As Sierra leaned against him and the children snuggled close, he whispered, "This is home. This is forever. You are my everything." She smiled, fingers lacing through his, and together they closed their eyes beneath the moonlight's silver glow. A family forged not from perfect moments, but from love that always, always found its way back.